criminal. Ay, we were just together though, on the same line, right presidential though. Some man I go rough like John Cena, some man I get rough like John Cena. He used to be cool when I used to come through, now you wanna act tough like John Cena. Hey, I don't know why you treat me like a criminal. We were just together though, on the same line, right presidential though. Hey, man I go rough like John Cena, some man I get rough like John Cena. He used to be cool when I used to come through, now you wanna act tough like John Cena. Boy the flame. DJ exit. You guys did a lot here. No, it's too much. Kwanza, cheza kama wewe hutaki. Pili, kata kama mishkaki. Tatu, ingia hapa katikati. Toka jasho unaloa kama ni samaki. Cheza kama wewe hutaki. Kata kama mishkaki. Ingia hapa katikati. Toka jasho unaloa kama ni samaki. Sheesh. Get it? Some man I act rough like John Cena, some man I get rough like John Cena. He used to be cool when I used to come through, now you wanna act tough like John Cena. Some girl I want beef like Hyena, some girl I get beat up Serena. The girl I get loud, the girl I get wild, some girl I take shots like tequila. Hypo! It's too much. Show my dress. Flourish and multiply forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah. Hey, hey. Yeah. Unajifanya hunioni labda mini John Cena. Ulinifanya mfungwa wako labda mini Madiba. Sina plan, sina cash, hata pesa misina. Hendo manu nanititi kama nikuibia. Lakini mimi nimekupenda though, I don't know why you treat me like a criminal. We were just together though, on the same line, right presidential though. Some man I act rough like John Cena, some man I get rough like John Cena. We used to be cool when I used to come through, now you wanna act tough like John Cena. Some girl I want beef like Hyena, some girl I get beat up Serena. The girl I get loud, the girl I get wild, some girl I take shots like tequila. Unajifanya mwalimu wangu labda we ni Nyerere. Nanfundisha kutulia labda huna kelele. Takarika na Belinda hata mimi mwenyewe. Ungependa situlia kati we unaenda mbele. Lakini mimi nimekupenda though, I don't know why you treat me like a criminal. We were just together though, on the same line, right presidential though. Some man I act rough like John Cena, some man I get rough like
Okay. Hello. Good morning. Can someone confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
Thank you. Good morning. You are all welcome to our career starter program in finance. So
hello. There's a repetition of your voice. That's the problem.
Okay.
Let me check
my okay.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
I think it's better now.
It's better.
From my
It's
side,
better.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, it's still happening. It's still happening.
Okay. I'll see. Yeah. I'm sure by now it's okay.
Yeah,
Hello.
just
Can
that
you
there's
confirm
some
if it's
background,
okay?
there's some noise in your background, but now it's
Okay. Can you hear me? Is there any
perfect.
echo?
No,
Okay.
no echo.
Okay. Great. Okay, guys. So we want to welcome all of you to our career starter program in finance. So today we are going to have interactions with industry experts who are coming to share their knowledge with us, with those of us who want to start our career in accounting and finance. So there are so many roles in accounting and finance. So here we have industry experts who are coming to share their knowledge with us when it comes to investment banking, financial analysis, corporate finance. Let me, okay, sorry. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, we are going to have interactive sections on how we can start our career in finance. So now for the first presentation that we are going to have, we are going to have interaction with someone from the investment banking industry. Let me confirm if Nana Bain, let me check if our speaker is ready. So this section is put together by Firstman School. So with Firstman, what we do is that we provide data skills and then premium data skills training in data modeling, financial modeling, data analytics, and so many things. So this is one of the programs that we have put together to open our minds to what is happening in the job market. So if you are looking at starting your job or your career in any of the accounting and finance roles, this would be a nice section for you to get engaged with our speakers. So let me get the outline for today. They'll be able to see the programs that we have. So now today's section is going to be brief. It's going to be for 1.5 hours. So from 9 to 9:10, we are going to have a section on investment banking. And this section is going to be held by one of our trainers or one of our resource persons here. So let me check if Nana Bain. Okay, so our speaker is around. So let me give him right. Okay. So now he's going to take us through how we can start our career in investment banking. So let me give you a background of the speaker for today. So now Nana Bayin is an investment banking or investment analyst at Data Bank Financial Services. Now he majored in economics and is also a CFA level 2 candidate. So today, as I mentioned, he's going to take us through how we can start our career in investment banking or investment analyst. So if you're looking at starting a career in the same area, then you are going to pay attention to what he's going to say. So now I'm going to give the platform to Nana Bayin to give us his first presentation on starting a career in investment banking. So Nana, are you around?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. So you can,
Okay.
Nana. Yeah. So now you have the platform. You can start with starting a career in investment banking. So you
Should
can
I
start
share
sharing your
my
screen.
screen?
Yes,
Okay.
you can start. So let me stop my.
Yeah. Host, you've disabled participants sharing their screen.
I've made you a co-host, so you should have the right to. Okay, let me do it again. Okay, so try sharing it again. So those of us who are finding it difficult to be stable on Zoom, we are also having a live stream on YouTube. So in case you find it difficult to rejoin, you can also join us on YouTube at the same time. Okay, now we can see your screen.
All right, great. So this is just a quick overview of what an investment analyst does. It's mainly a research role, research and fund management role. So most of what we do is conducting research and writing reports that help in taking investment decisions. Now, this can be in the pension industry, in the institutional or corporate, or in the mutual funds, or where I am is basically in the private wealth space. We basically all do the same research, and we basically do the same thing. To start in this area, usually you start as a data analyst. The role involves mostly collecting data, updating models, and probably discussing your findings with the team. The team usually is a committee that, what do you call it, approves your decision making. Or if you don't get access to that committee, you report directly to your line manager, who's a senior analyst. When I started in Data Bank, I worked on a project for the pensions team and basically dissolving a fund that the company no longer wanted to run, and we wanted to just distribute their shares. All I had was a lot of data and an Excel sheet, and I had to figure out how to basically find a way to share the returns evenly across all clients. At a senior level, what we do is more of financial modeling for specific companies. So for example, in my current role, what I'll do is I'll track a listed company like MTN or a Stanchart or a GCB, and I'll basically track those companies as well as look at what strategies I should use in incorporating them in my portfolios. So that's the portfolio construction or portfolio management bit of the job. The job also entails a bit of relationship management, but how deeply you get into relationship management depends on the exact role that you would be given. Depends on the unit you're also in. Going to the next slide. Okay, so key roles is one thing we all do is idea generation. So we are always looking for investment opportunities on the markets. It could be within Ghana or outside Ghana. Both in dollar and in CD terms. Anything can come up from clients asking you whether they should invest in cryptocurrencies or gold or Eurobonds or even in real estate. So we get a lot of clients that might have their own investments they want you to look at, and then you might even have to end up analyzing a private equity company in the US or in London and basically just advise them on it. So this leads into the next role, which is mostly research on securities and also financial planning. When I talk about financial planning here, what I mean is basically setting goals, creating a portfolio to meet the client's goals. So in the mutual fund space, they are basically given a mandate, and basically clients are asked to choose whichever mandate that they feel they fit in. In my space, in the wealth management role, we are customizing the portfolio to match your investment goals. I'll give you an example. A client might want to retire in the next 20 years and be able to withdraw at least, sorry, and be able to withdraw at least 10,000 each month for the next 30 years. So then it's your job to create this portfolio and actually look at the securities that will be included in this portfolio, and that will give him that end goal. So that's basically what financial planning comes to. Then the next stage is if the client gives the go ahead, what you do is the execution of it, and then portfolio management, managing the portfolio over the life of the life period that the client is with you. So that's basically that. For me, I'm looking at basic skills that anybody can have. Basic in the industry is some form of financial modeling skills in Microsoft Excel. it can range from basic to advanced. Basic where you know how to do queries, VLOOKUP, sorting, pivot tables, to more advanced where you are basically doing forecasts and projections in Excel. So it varies. There are a lot of free courses online, and you can always look at YouTube when you don't have you need information or you need to know how to use a specific tool. So that is something that you should have. Another requirement which should be basic is the Ghana Stock Exchange course. So anybody that is in the investment management or investment security space is regulated by SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. And once you work under that space, you need to have passed your Ghana Stock Exchange exams. And that's a basic that you can even take while you're in school. I don't think it's so hard, but whilst you are working, sometimes it becomes difficult to find time to learn because there's so much pressure. So that's a basic that you can have coming right out of school. And also within the industry, a lot of employers would not want to hire you if you don't have this, because after a certain period, let's say they give you a year to pass the exams. After a certain period, they can get fined if the person who is advising clients has not passed this exam. So this is really a basic that you should have. The next thing is basically an understanding of economic and financial information and financial markets as well. Um, Usually there are a breadth of courses that you could do: economics, business admin, finance, math, statistics, psychology. I know even somebody who mastered in Excel, but also added the CFA, which helped him get into the industry. So there are a lot of pathways you can use to get in, but you should have an understanding of the economic information or business, basically. For example, the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee's discussions that they have every between every monthly or every 2 months, you should at least have a view on that. You should understand what is happening globally and how it affects your investment decisions. And the last one that I'll add is goal setting. Goal setting because one, you have to prove if you are going to work in the industry, you'll be given large targets and you have to be able to show that you can meet those targets. And I think being able to set goals and understand that, for example, if you could take a personal project whereby you decide to design your own portfolio and you set your target that within the next year, I'm going to design an equity portfolio that makes a return of, let's say, 10%. You setting that goal and then probably designing that in an Excel and tracking it with, let's say, Power BI. And then at the end of the day, being able to prove to whoever is hiring you that, yes, this is what I was able to do, even with the little financial information that I had access to and the little knowledge I had, at least takes you, shows initiative and at least puts you ahead of others. So I think goal setting is something that at least you should look at and be very keen on studying how to do that. For me, the trends that I see in the future, well, this is retirement planning falls under financial planning, but it's more of a niche within financial planning, whereby you are looking at within the spectrum of people who will be getting to the retirement age of 60, how are they planning their investments today? And please do not lie to yourself that it's too early to plan for retirement. It's never too early. And it's actually much easier the younger you are. So this is a space that we are looking into, and especially with the new the new NPRA regulations, it's become more, I'll say, out there with a lot of trustees selling their services. You see Enterprise, you see Petra, you see Access Pensions, a lot of them selling their services out there. And I think this is information that is easily available to everybody. Probably in the longer term, people will still be looking at cryptocurrencies to see whether they should be part of traditional portfolios. Currently, they are not. They are not regulated in Ghana as at yet, so they are not part of our investment space. But you do get clients asking for ways in which they can incorporate cryptocurrencies into their portfolios. Some of them go abroad to do it. I mean, there are lots of options out there. And gold ETFs, if you actually look on the Ghana Stock Exchange, you find a security called New Gold ETF. That is it's an ETF that invests in only gold. That's another option that where people can use to invest indirectly into commodities. So there are interesting aspects of the market where people might be able to get high alphas and basically boost their returns. Thirdly, I mean, amidst given what happened last year, especially with COVID, a lot of people are going digital. So a lot of digital services are being, what do you call it, amplified within this region. You want to be able to reach your clients without them having to walk in. So you want apps that can help them check their balances. You want apps that can help them calculate their retirement, how much they need, and basically, even in our industry, I know IT people who have done the CFA and have also ended up designing asset management tools. Like the asset management tool was an IT person who learned CFA that designed it for us. So it is basically, there are lots of options out there. Power BI and Power Automate are Microsoft tools. There are a lot of other Microsoft tools out there, but I think you should explore in using as many tools as possible, as many as you can get your hands on, because at least it shows your diversity and gives you a lot of creative room when you want to do things. Like, for example, Power Automate allows me to automatically send emails to clients at the end of each month without me having to go on my PC and now type the email and do the same thing all over, like repetitive things. So I get to cut down the amount of work and spend more time in basically research. So that's it for me. Hello, am I within time?
Hello? Yes. Okay, Nana, thank you very much for this brief presentation. So you took us through the overview of investment banking, how the role of investment banking or investment analyst is. They also you took us through the key skills and qualifications that you need to start your career in investment banking. Then you also talk about some mega trends in the industry where you highlighted some of the digital skills that we need to have, like Power BI, Power Automate, and other financial apps. So thank you very much, Nana, for this brief presentation. We are very grateful for your time. So now, if anyone is having a question, you can provide everything in the chat box. So here, we are not going to give you the opportunity to unmute yourself and then speak. So if you have any question, you can use the chat box. So now the next section that we are going to have will be on starting a career in audit and then assurance. Starting a career in audit and assurance. And this section is going to be led by Alex Asare, who is one of the employees or consultants at KPMG. So Alex, if you are here, let me give a brief background about Alex. So Alex is currently working with KPMG, one of the big four firms in the world, and he is an auditor there. Apart from that, Alex is also an ACCA affiliate and then a graduate of University of Cape Coast, where he read Bachelor of Commerce. Apart from that, Alex has also won so many awards from ACCA, being the first in Ghana and then third globally in terms of corporate reporting. So today, Alex is going to take us through how we can start our career in audit and assurance. So Alex, if you're around, kindly take over.
Hello, Festus. Good morning.
Hello, Alex. Good morning. You are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry for my voice. I've not been well the whole of this week. So but I still don't disappoint Festus and the whole team. So sorry for my voice.
No problem.
I'm not very well. So I want to be presenting a slide. But then I hope I'm able to communicate effectively to each and everyone. So as Festus rightly said, my name is Alexander Dinchi Asari, and I'm currently with KPMG. I'm proud to that. I worked with Deloitte as a tax consultant. And so, in as much as I would want to talk about audit as well, probably I'd add a bit of tax to it, considering that I have a tax background as well. So in Deloitte, I work with the tax advisory unit. In tax generally, it's broken down probably into three sections. Maybe, but certain firms would have maybe their individual differences. So at Deloitte, for example, we had a tax advisory, we had the business tax, and then we had the global employment service. So the global employment service are those who deal with the payroll calculations, and then the corporate tax individuals deals with the withholding taxes, the corporate tax, and the rest. And the tax advisory individuals mostly deals with international taxation. So advising client on several tax matters, especially when clients actually want to come to Ghana to work. So for me, for example, I had the opportunity to work on a client like Yango when Yango was coming down to Ghana. So it was quite an interesting thing for me. What you need, obviously, your technical skills it's very important. But additionally, Excel
Hello,
is
Alex.
also. Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Are you sharing your screen?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I said, technical skills it's very important. But as well, what is equally important is how to use Excel in your daily work, because I think one challenging thing is probably, let's say, when you are working on withholding taxes. Withholding taxes had several rates that you'd actually use. So sometimes, if you're able to come up with a system that's actually able to determine that, okay, when you see work should attract a withholding tax of this percentage. When you see services should attract this. I mean, it makes your work quite easy, and then it helps you get along. I mean, it gives you a good face also with your employees. I remember I took my team through Excel at Deloitte, and I was actually awarded for that. So I think Excel is one key tool you could also use in your work as a tax consultant. Now, just to move quickly to audit and assurance. So it's audit, and then we have to provide an assurance on the item that you're actually auditing. When you are doing audit, one of the key technical competence that you need would be your understanding of the IFRS or IAS, so the accounting standards. In Ghana, we use the IFRS and the IAS. Probably in US, you look at the US GAAP. So it's very important that you have a good understanding of the accounting standards. I mean, it makes your work easier. I mean, at the entry level, because as you go higher, what will be needed will be your managerial skills, not your technical competence. So at the initial levels, if you have a good understanding of accounting, it goes a long way to help you. In audit, as a like tax, also we have the consumer and industrial market. The consumer and industrial market actually deals with the manufacturing firms. We have firms like maybe Nestle, Pomoacedo, and I mean other entities that actually deal in manufacturing of goods and services. And then we have we have those who are also in the energy and natural resources. So we talk about Newmont, we talk about Asanko, we talk about So all the mining firms, all the oil firms, and also those who are actually in the public sector as well, we one way or the other connects them with those who are in the oil and gas. And the last part that would have largely will be with those who are in the financial sector. So basically the insurance and those who are in banking, microfinance, and others. So largely audit is broken down into these three allocations, such that everyone will be under a particular umbrella. Now, in audit as well, maybe depending on your firm, you'd have certain maybe firm specific softwares that you would use. So when you come to audit, we have something called the computer audit assisted techniques. So this is where we actually use computer softwares to actually carry out our audit. So in KPMG, we have an entity specific software that you use. But in addition to that, when you're actually working in audit, what you'd be doing is you'd be working with Excel a lot, because largely what we actually produce when we carry out an audit work is an evidence. The evidence is actually documented in Excel. So technically, you are using Excel to actually document the evidence that you obtain from your work. So, for example, assuming I'm working, to make it simple and not technical, assuming I'm working on, let's say, a car, maybe we'll classify probably under PPE, that's property, plant, and equipment. And then I have to do a depreciation on that. So the depreciation I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to document it using an Excel. Now, with my experience so far, I mean, if you don't really have a good understanding of Excel, that would be very bad for you as an individual, because I mean, starting we are looking at VLOOKUPs, we are looking at the left and right function, the mid functions, we are looking at the pivot tables, and we are looking at if errors. You know, I remember quite recently I was working with one of my colleagues, and he was supposed to actually extract information from another workbook. And then, you know, where when you use a VLOOKUP and the information is not available, it's writing non-applicable. And what he was going to do was that he was going to go through the whole list of about probably 150 to 200. And then he was going to manually take out the non-applicables and then put zero there as figures. And I was like, really? So I just used the if error. And then and it was like, oh, this is so simple. And I've been doing this the manual way all my life. So audit itself comes with stress, because it's a lot of work you are doing within a short period of time. So the best you can actually do for yourself is actually to have a good grasp of Excel, so that it actually speeds up your work and makes you very efficient at what you do. So I think, having said this, probably later on, if there are any questions, I'm available to address them. Thank you, Festus.
Thank you, Alex. So thank you very much for the presentation. So he talked about how we can start, or what involves in starting your career in audit and assurance. And then because he also has some accounting or audit background, taxation or tax background, he also took us through how the tax role also looks like. So through his presentation, he highlighted some of the key skills that you need to have. And one is Excel. And if you take the key from the first presentation to, he also spoke about Excel and then Power BI. These are some of the skills that we provide at First Man School. So if you are looking at learning these skills, we'll be able to help you get started. Now we are moving straight to our next presentation, which will be on private equity. So those of us who are also looking at starting our career in private equity, we also have somebody who is also coming to share his knowledge with us in terms of the kind of skills that you need and how the future of equity investments or private equity looks like. So the next section will be held by Emmanuel Ejam, who is an investment associate at Injaro Investment. He is a CFA level 3 candidate, and then he's also a certified banking and credit analyst. he also has a certificate from the Ghana Stock Exchange. One of the qualifications that Nana Bayin highlighted, that if you want to start your career in investment banking, you should have a certificate from Ghana Stock Exchange. So Emmanuel also has that certificate as well. Now, apart from that, he's also a financial modeling and valuation analyst. So you are going to give the platform to him to talk about how we can become a private equity professional. So Emmanuel, take over the platform and then take us through starting a career in private equity.
Okay, thank you so much, Festus. So I'll make this brief and more of touch the broad strokes because there's some people would want to even understand what the private equity is all about, because I think it's one of the career roles that I wasn't aware of, even till after I completed university, to get into private equity. Private equity is not so popular, but it's one of the very interesting roles you can actually find yourself in. So, okay. So I'm going to give just a brief overview for those who are not very familiar with the space, just to understand what it is about. So there's public equity and then there's private equity. Public equity is what the research guys and those who work in the investment banks like Data Bank, the defunct First Bank, among others, trade. These guys, they trade public equities that are already IPO'd, and they are either on the Ghana Stock Exchange or any other stock exchange that you can think about. Now, what we do is private equity. Private equity means it's not listed on the stock exchange. So we are more of speaking directly to the owner of the company and kind of striking a deal with this owner of the company to have some shares in their company. So that is why it's private equity. Now, there are two sides of private equity. I mean, there's the private equity and then there's venture capital. I mean, people use it interchangeably, but then the main split is that private equity is more big ticket sizes. When I say big ticket size, I'm talking about things like investments of around like 7-10 million. I mean, there's not a specific amount, but then, 7-10 million USD per company, going up above there. And then when we talk about the VCs, you usually have smaller ticket sizes like $3-5 million. I'm talking in dollars. So $3-5 million, $2 million, stuff like that, way down the chain. So that is usually the difference between the private equity and the venture capital. And depending on which one you are also, getting into, the kind of skills, it's sometimes somewhat different. I mean, venture capital requires a lot of support, operational support to the businesses, because those businesses, are not like, they are not there yet in terms of their operations and their systems and processes. But then the more you go to the bigger ticket size deals, now imagine you are investing in like, I don't know if you recently heard GB Foods, Helios invested in GB Foods, and GB Foods is a very big entity. They are those who do the Gino that you take, among other things. I mean, you're not going to build systems and processes, match systems and processes for GB Foods now, because they've built a lot of these things, but you kind of support them to grow and expand. So more of strategy support and not operational support. If you also know about Farm Milk is one of the biggest investments that ever happened in Ghana, where Abraj invested $300 million in Farm Milk. There's also been some investments in Ghana Home Loans. Like, a lot of these businesses or institutions that you deal with on a daily basis have experienced some form of private equity investment. So we have the equity fund, and then we have the credit fund. Now, like I said, these are broad strokes. There are other, funds, but I'm just, limiting it to what is popular in Ghana and in some parts of Africa. So equity fund, it's where you invest, not just equity. I mean, when you hear of an equity fund, it doesn't mean they just do equity. They can do some form of debt alongside the equity. But if you look at credit fund, they do purely debt. So purely debt can be a pure debt or a mezzanine instrument like convertible debt, stuff like that. So again, the skills you require for each of these differ a little bit. The credit fund requires more of the skills of a typical, credit analyst in a bank, or like a relationship manager, those skills that you require to work in a big bank for such an investment. But then the equity side requires more of a more different set of skills beyond that credit fund skills. Now, the funds focus on a particular strategy, right? So there are funds whose strategy is to invest in early stage companies. So early stage companies, I'm talking about companies with very zero to low revenues, right? They just started and they need some money to scale up. It's a very interesting space. A lot of operational support required, a lot of trust in the entrepreneur required beyond the idea. You have to have the wits to be able to assess the entrepreneur and be sure that this is the entrepreneur you want to support. Growth and expansion, with this, they've already kind of cemented their presence in the market, but then they need to grow either into other markets within country or get outside the country. Let's say get outside Ghana. I mean, with the AFTA, there are a lot of Ghanaian businesses that are looking to be able to do business outside Ghana into the region. So these are some of the funds that they will assess. And the good thing about private equity funds that makes some of the businesses come to us is that it's more patient capital. So a typical PE investment, can take 5 to 7 years before they exit. So it gives you time to grow before you have to exit them. And you don't have to necessarily exit them. They can also go find somebody to exit them. So then it takes the burden of the entrepreneur. Turnaround. When we say turnaround, it's more like a company that is collapsing because of one issue or the other. They have like huge debts. Things are not going well, basically. So you get into this company and you kind of fix the issues in the company, and then you make some good returns. And then buyout. Buyout is where you buy the whole company from the owner, 100% acquisition. Now, this barely happens a lot in Africa because of the mindset of most African entrepreneurs. They barely want to lose their company fully. But then we also see some happening, in some parts of Africa, with serial entrepreneurs who are very open to, starting new businesses. So they want to exit the one that they are in already. So that's just to get you started on what private equity is really about. Now, if you look at a typical private equity entity, you have some of the things you would hear in terms of the roles. You hear of analyst, associate, that is where I am. You hear of officer, and then you hear of manager. There can be iterations of this where you can hear things like senior analyst, senior associate, senior officer, investment manager, director, partner, stuff like that. If you're getting started, definitely you are thinking of analyst, right? The thing we do in private equity, it's kind of a very simple, a very clear path that we walk through, but then the dynamism within this is what makes it kind of a very rigorous role in terms of how you apply, subjectivity in your analysis, right? Because there's no objective way, in doing some of the things we do. So we start from deal origination, where you find a company that you think it's good or it's interested in funding from you. So for instance, with the farm milk transaction, someone spotted farm milk and they felt like they have what it takes to take farm milk to the next level, and they have the funding it takes to buy into some portions of farm milk. So you kind of approach farm milk and you start the conversation from there. Now, this should tell you that you require some very good interpersonal skills and negotiation skills, because you have to really prove yourself why you think it's worth they considering you at the table. Because as soon as you invest equity in the business, it's kind of like you are in a relationship now. So they need to really know if it's worth having you as part of them, in their company. And then you do your initial analysis. Initial analysis, this is where you yourself and the team in-house, you are really thinking about the opportunity and asking yourself if this is an opportunity you want to invest in. you can see it all glamorous and shiny out there. But when you go in there and then you look at the numbers, you look at the team, you look at what is happening in there, you might walk away. So that is the initial analysis point. You confirming if this is what you want to do. I mean, I usually, juxtapose this with finding a lady, and then, I mean, she looks all nice and good, but in the first few, days of relationship, you are really analyzing if this is really what you want in terms of, going ahead with the relationship. And then we go on to due diligence. With due diligence, you are basically getting external people. So this is where we call on people like Alex and his firm to do things like financial DD for us, tax due diligence, stuff like that, to drill down into the company to be sure that what they are saying and what we are thinking is actually what it is. Some of these due diligence will bring out some issues that you didn't know existed, and that might mean you might walk away from the transaction. But if you don't walk away, then you go to deal closing. Deal closing requires a lot of conversation with the owners of the company, because, hey, you are pricing something that you've built over years, right? So because your equity investment is at a price. And the difference between the public market and the private market is that for the public market, there's already a price. So you might just start with that price as the benchmark, and then you move up or down on that price. But then with private equity, there's usually no price. So you're going to say this is what you think the value of your equity you're buying is, and they have to decide if they agree with you or not. So it takes a lot of negotiations and discussions at this point to get through this stage. Then you go to value creation. Now that is what takes the longest period. So all this I've said will take a period between 6 months to a year. If everything is going on well, from deal origination to deal closing can take like 1 year, right? Now, as soon as you close the deal and you invest in the company, value creation takes within like 5 to 7 years, depending on when you exit the company. Value creation is basically you working with the company to implement the strategies that you guys agreed on. So you realize that before now, Farm Milk was just selling their typical strawberry yogurt and their normal milk, Farm Milk, and all those basic stuff, and they've sold it for quite long. So until now you see a lot of varieties coming in, they're trying a lot of new things like, cocoa pine and stuff like that. I might not know for sure, but I can also suggest or think that was part of the value creation plan that Abraj agreed with Farm Milk to implement, that, hey guys, you've done very well, but we think it's now time for you to start doing other varieties or other products to sell to the market. So that is what value creation is, helping them to implement what you guys agreed the future would be. And then the hope is that usually when you implement these things, they go well, but then it's not always like that. As a business, you face challenges all across the road. So you keep solving the problems, revisiting your plans, tweaking them again, coming back, implementing them. Think about it like a consulting role plus an implementation of the consulting services you are providing. Then you go to an exit. I mean, in an exit, the goal is that you can get out at a very good valuation and make money. Now, with an exit, you can talk about listing on a stock exchange. You can talk about selling to another private equity firm. You can talk about selling to a strategic. So, for instance, if it's a branch invested in Farm Milk, they can talk to Coca-Cola that Coca-Cola should buy their investment. So now Coca-Cola will then own Farm Milk. If you look at Voltic has got some PE investments, and now Voltic is owned by Coca-Cola. So that is one of the exits that you can do. Exit it to a strategic investor. So that is typically where we go through. And this exit also, again, a lot of negotiation, because it's like you're selling something to someone. The person's price might be different from yours. So I move on to the skills. I mean, from all I've explained, you'd realize that in our work, a big part of our work is financial modeling and valuation. We do a lot of modeling, from modeling of the financials to modeling of the operations to modeling of the strategies that you want to implement, analysis of what the numbers are looking like and against what you expected them to look like, and kind of finding where the problem is coming from. So these are all different kind of modeling that you find yourself doing in private equity. And then valuation, like I said, you need to price the assets. So that is what valuation is about. And then we do, all these things, you use a lot of Microsoft Excel, and you also need a lot of MS PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, because we do a lot of presentations. Talk of presentations of the opportunity, presentations to managers. You have a company. So for instance, if Farm Milk is given to you to supervise, you should be able to come back on a monthly basis to provide an update on what Farm Milk is doing against what you guys expected them to do, and what the solutions will be, on issues that you're seeing. On skills you need some very good writing skills. Some of these investment proposals, I don't want to take you through the whole structure of PE, it can take some time, but then some of these investment proposals that you pitch to the committees, we are talking about sometimes 60-page documents, right? And this 60-page documents will be written by you. So you have to have very good writing skills to communicate exactly what you're thinking. Good negotiation skills, in all these negotiations that you have to do, like I explained. Good presentation skills, because after you write and you send it, you have to present it, right? You have to have that skills to be able to present it to the committee, because you have to convince the committee that it's a good investment. You have to have a very good business acumen. Here you are, somebody's business, they've been running it for like 20 years. You are going in there and you want to make a decision if it's a good or bad investment. If you don't have strong business acumen, you might be found wanting. You have to have also very strong business strategy skills, because you're going to analyze their strategy. You might have to tweak their strategy, and you have to convince them that the tweak to their strategy is the best approach. So just like a consultant would do, you should have those skills. Accounting skills is very important. When you talk about analyzing their numbers, which is usually one of the objective data that you can lay your hands on, as far as it's objective, right? And use for your decision-making process. And you need some very good finance, because when you find the accounting numbers, moving from the accounting level to you making a decision whether to invest, it takes some good deal of finance to get to that point. And then business operations. You need to be able to understand how someone's business operations work. Now, this general business operations knowledge, not like specific, how the operations flow from one point to the other, understanding of right from the supply chain and how to analyze all these things and put it together to form like a business in your mind. Relevant qualifications, you definitely would need some degree or MBA to be able to get in. You need ACCA, CIMA, ICA, all these things will help you a lot with the accounting and management accounting part of things and strategy. And then you also need like a CFA, more on the finance side. FMVA was also quite practical, and then the CBCA, especially for credit funds. So these are the things that would help you, navigate your way through private equity. Mega trends in the industry. There are a number of things happening. So one of them is that, an increasing number of buyout funds, but then it's also difficult for them to find. It's also very difficult for them to find the kind of companies they would like to invest in. So it is what do you call it? Chicken and egg situation. Whether you come early and then you find or they exist, and then you set up those kind of funds. You also have trends like the use of Power BI to track performance against KPI. So there are some people who use Power BI to analyze, how the company is performing against what they expected the performance to be. And then the use of systems like iLevel, for reporting. So the reporting requirement of private equity is huge. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and a lot of people are not usually interested in spending so much time in doing reporting. But then it's somebody's huge money. Somebody has invested $20 million. Somebody has invested $100 million. And they want to know what you are doing with their money. So we are using systems, to work on our reporting. One of them is iLevel, and there are a lot of them, in the space now that people are using to make their reporting easier and faster. So those are some of the trends we are definitely seeing in the space. But the space is very dynamic. So it's almost as if you have to always come in with what you have, and ensure that hopefully it works best, to deliver the results that your investors are expecting. So that is it on private equity. I can take any questions from now.
Okay, Manuel, thank you very much for the presentation. So now I'll go straight to the chat box and see if you have any questions. So we have one question from Albert. He's asking, he knows that equity shareholder is more like part of a company, but I want you to throw more light on that. So in just maybe a minute, you can talk about that.
Okay, so an equity shareholder, think about it this way. You bought a house. Let me use a simple thing like a house, and the house is standing for the business. So you've bought a house and you are renting the house to someone. So let's say you do rental, you get rental income. And then I come to you and I'm like, let's assume you're Festus. I'm like, Festus, the house you bought that you are renting out, you know what? I want to give you, $100,000, and then I would own 20% of the house. Now, before then, the house was owned 100% by Festus. But then I want to give Festus $100,000, then I'll own 20% of the house. Now, when I say that, it means that I'm valuing the whole house at $500,000, right? Because if 20% of it is $100,000, then the whole house is $500,000. So now Festus has to think, is that worth it? So that is one side. On the other hand, it means that I have 20% power now in terms of decision making in the company, about the house, who we rent it to, how much we rent it, and all stuff like that. And Festus has 80% power in determining some of these things. It can be complicated a little bit depending on how you structure it, but this is the simple, meaning to it. So, if Festus agrees and we strike this deal, it means that going forward, when we rent the house, the income that will come from the house, 20% will come to me and 80% will go to Festus, unless we have, again, some bit of complexities around it. But this is the simplest explanation of how the equity works, and thus Festus has to really understand if he really wants me to be part of this whole decision making and be enjoying some of this money before he gets me in, because I can mess things up. I can make the organization go in a way that it shouldn't go, and Festus might not be happy about it. So that is how the whole equity works.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. So now we move straight to our next presentation, and that will be on research. For us who want to start our career as research analyst. Now we also have another section on that, which is also going to be led by one of the senior analysts at IC Securities. So the next section will be about research analysis, or those who want to go into research. Now this section will be led by Emmanuel Latte. So Emmanuel is currently the senior analyst at IC Securities. Then he is also an experienced research analyst who has a lot of background in banking industry. He has skills in financial modeling and valuation, Microsoft Word, and then PowerPoint. Apart from that, he also has knowledge in customer relations, management, and then strategic planning. So today, as I mentioned, he's going to take us through research analysis, or those of us who want to start as research analysts. So Emmanuel Latte, we give you the platform to start your presentation.
Hello.
Hello, Emmanuel.
Yes, Lydia here. Emmanuel cannot join us today for the presentation. He asked me to step in. So if you could allow me to share my screen, please.
Okay. Okay, Lydia, you can go ahead.
Right. Can someone please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, sure, we can see your screen.
Okay, right. So my name is Lydia Jabu, and I'm stepping in for Emmanuel Latte. I'm currently a research analyst serving at IC Securities. I joined them not too long ago, so it would be more of a first-hand sharing of experience at IC Securities and what the research role is typically about. Right, so a question is, who are research analysts? So research analysts are professionals generally, and they're responsible for handling data. So analyzing, interpreting, making sense of the data and presenting information that would be useful for decision making. Now, in the finance and accounting area, there are so many research analyst roles. So depending on your area of special sets of data. So you may be serving as an equity research analyst. You could be a fixed income research analyst. You could be an economic research analyst or a financial analyst, for example. In my case, I'm serving as an equity research analyst. Now, what are the key roles or the key things that you'd be involved in as a research analyst? So typically, you'd be handling the analysis of all manner of data, so financial, economic, and market data. So first off, in that process, you should always validate your data, because if you are using the wrong data, you're going to come out with wrong forms of analysis, and that can be detrimental. So you first have to, of course, validate your data and then employ as many tools as you can to analyze your data, to identify different forms of patterns or trends or business opportunities as the current or whatever project it is that you're working on would require. All manner of models which will be useful for generating forecasts or valuing assets. And of course, after having analyzed your data, you must produce some form of communication. So either in the form of reports or pitch books or presentations, which you are going to be delivering to your target audience. So I'm glad that throughout the previous presentations, they all analyzed, or they actually pointed out the need for performing some form of analysis before taking various forms of what talked about the private equity investment process. You could see the initial analysis and then performing due diligence. In all of those instances, you'll be handling quite a lot of data and using that data to value assets, for example. So having produced such key reports, you would have to now engage your target audience. So that might be management or some of your prospective clients or current clients who may be interested in one area or one business or one thing or the other. So or you may host calls and engage them and present the results of your analysis in a way that is logical and is useful for decision making. Now, what are the key skills and qualifications? I think those have also been well highlighted by the previous presenters. On the academic qualifications, of course, you do need a first degree, basic first degree, either in accounting or finance or economics or statistics or any such related that you have such degrees. Professional qualifications, mentioning CFA. Yes, so CFA is pretty core, depending on which area you want to specialize in. So if more finance, investment banking, we're looking at CFA. If it's accounting role that you're going to be playing as a research analyst, the ACC is fundamental. Of course, now there are a lot more qualifications in economics and risk management, for I mean, the sky's the limit. You can earn your CFA and the ACs. You'll be able to work across different research areas. Hard and soft skills. On the hard skills, you should be modeling and valuation. So you must have that skill. And the presenters have highlighted that Excel is pretty much key. You should have. Yes. Hello. Yes. Did you lose me somewhere? Hello.
Sorry for the.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Sorry
You
for the
lost me somewhere.
interruption. Can you go over? Can you go over the professional qualifications? It seems your network was not working properly.
Yes. Sorry. I apologize for that. Actually, the power is out here, and I had to rely on using my phone to hotspot. So that's why I'm having challenges. But forgive me for that. So on the academic qualifications, again, I mentioned that basic requirements, you should have a first degree in a business-related field. So it could be accounting, finance, economics, or even statistics. And then with regards to professional qualifications, our previous presenters are more interested in finance kind of roles. You may have to sign on to the CFA, accounting, ACCA, and then of course there's a SEMA and other forms of professional qualifications that may just help you to break the ice in the industry. Now, on the key skills required, apart from the hard skill of, being adept at modeling and undertaking valuations, especially using analytical tools like Excel, you should have soft skills as well. You should be able to effectively communicate, and not just orally. You should be able to write well. You should be able to write well. You should have problem-solving skills. You should have leadership skills. It's not every single time that you have to run to your boss or manager to help you with your problem. You should be able to identify what your problems are and find the adequate solutions to them. You should have great interpersonal skills. That's important because typically in a research team, you'd have to interact with other analysts. So you may be interacting with the economic analyst or the energy analyst or somebody else who you need inputs from on the particular project that you're working with. So having very good interpersonal skills is important. Managing your time is equally important. Having skill in that area is important because in many instances you're managing multiple projects at a go. And more importantly, you should be able to, you should have strong attention to detail because you'll be handling a lot of data or information or numbers. And so being able to accurately report is very essential. Now, on my final note on mega trends in the industry, what I'll just want to highlight is more on data analytics. I think the industry generally, there is a demand for analysts who have strong skills in analyzing data. And so you should, at this time, be looking at improving or the necessary certifications or skills, especially in the area of technology. So more of the available tools that would allow you to model or predict or analyze any form of data. And quite recently, I think I saw somewhere that one of these large research firms had required all their analysts, in-house analysts, to learn how to program using Python and other form of Haskell packages. So I think
Hello, Lydia. I think she's gone. Okay, guys, sorry for that. As she mentioned, she's using her hotspot, but unfortunately the network is not stable, so she wasn't able to retain that. Okay, I think she's here. Lydia, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry about
Yeah, Lydia.
that. Still having a lot of connectivity issues here.
Okay.
Yes. So where did you lose me again? Sorry about that.
Yeah, the last one on the mega trends, like the skills that we are looking at in future. So if you can spend like 2 minutes to take us through that quickly.
Right. So I just wanted to highlight here that there is growing demand for individuals with a strong handle on data analytics. And so having strong technology skills in the area of, using all manner of modeling and predictive tools. Because as an analyst, if you want to become a star analyst, there's all variables or changes in market conditions. And to become a star analyst, it means that your forecast must truly be accurate. And so to be able to do these, you have to rely on all manner of tools available. So technology-wise, you should be able to program, learn Python and other forms of statistical packages so that you can better perform your task as an analyst. I think that would be all from my side. If there are any questions, please.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. We are very grateful for your time. So guys, if you have any questions, kindly use the chat and then I'll be able to read out your questions to our presenters. So now we are moving quickly to our next presentation. And this is going to be on corporate finance. So those of us who also want to go into corporate finance, we also have a presentation from George. So here, George is also going to take us through how we can start our career as corporate finance analyst or corporate finance specialist. So George is a strategic analyst with LMI Holdings with a strong understanding of corporate finance, investment banking, and financial advisory transactions. Now, proud to joining LMI, George worked as a senior financial analyst for Frontline Capital Advisors. Now, George currently is a CFA Level 2 candidate. He also holds a Master's of Philosophy in Finance and Bachelor of Science in Banking and Finance from University of Ghana Business School. And then George is also certified as a financial modeling and valuation analyst and is also a certified licensed investment advisor by Ghana Stock Exchange. So now George is going to take us through how you can start your career in corporate finance. So George, kindly take over the presentation. Oh, George went off, so I'm now admitting him again. Okay, so whilst he's preparing to join the section, so I want to highlight again that with the key skills that we have mentioned here, from the last presentation, Lydia mentioned financial modeling, Excel, and then you also have to know how to do data analytics, how you'll be able to take data and analyze it. So these are some of the key skills that we provide at Firstman School. So if you want to learn data analytics, financial modeling, or all these kind of skills, you can join us. So George, are you here?
Yes, Festus, I'm here.
Okay, George. Okay, so kindly take over.
Okay, thank you. Would you want to enable the sharing option for me?
Okay, I'm looking for you to give you that right. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so you can share your screen now.
Sure. Okay, so can you let me know if you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen, George.
Okay, great. Okay, so thank you very much to the Firstman School of Analytics, and then all my colleagues who have shared before I come to share. So I briefly, like they have all done, I'm going to be speaking on becoming a corporate finance analyst. Becoming a corporate finance analyst. Broadly, I will not bog in into giving too much detail, in specific detail on the role, but this session is to help us who want to start a career in that area to have a first sense of what the area entails, what we should be looking at in specific skills we should be working on if we've not already started, or we've started, where to put in more steam to make progress in that area. So before we bog into the corporate finance analyst role, we want to look at what corporate finance broadly covers. And if you're on this call, maybe you've taken 1 or 2 business courses at your undergrad level or any of these courses, so you have a fair sense of this. So for So for corporate finance, it's I'm grouping it into 3 broad areas. There is where we assess the current financial and operational status. We forecast financials and analyze the performance of a company against its forecast. So there is a company and you are looking at how currently the company is performing financially, the operational status. You are forecasting these financials. You analyze the performance of the company, and then you benchmark it against the forecast that you have done. It'd be interesting to say that corporate finance analysts do not only work with financial firms, but they could also be working with other firms in manufacturing, firms in big tech firms. They all have roles for a corporate finance analyst, because that analyst role is not just peculiar to when it comes to just finance, but generally the performance of that particular corporation. So that's one side of corporate finance, where it involves strategy. In Ghana, the concept of business strategy is not so common. When someone sees a role of an analyst in the sense of they being strategy, you can't really pinpoint where that falls in. But there's a side of finance that is developing, and even outside the walls of Ghana, it's quite common. And you check on LinkedIn, you read a lot, you see that there's a place for strategy in finance. So the strategy is informed by the financial performance of the company now, what they do on a day-to-day basis in order to optimize their financial performance. And then based on their budgeting, based on things that have been forecast, you come and review and say, okay, is this company performing like we set it out to do? So that's the whole place where strategy comes in when it comes to finance. Currently, there are roles such as head of finance and strategy, because the companies increasingly are not just interested in the financial statements alone, but the story behind the financial statements. How can we use the story behind the financial statements to turn around what the company is currently doing? So corporate finance covers strategy. There's also the key side of corporate finance, which most of us would be privy to these sides, which is the capital projects, where you explore and analyze potential investments for the company. So when a company, I mentioned that corporate finance analysts are not just with finance firms like M&A firm, mergers and acquisition firms. They are not just with investment banks or the Wall Street kind of firms, but they can be with tech firms. They can be with manufacturing firms. To a point, they can be with companies that enter big capital projects as and when the company deems it fit. So in this place, the corporate finance analyst is exploring and analyzing potential investments for the company for a go, no go, or a sequencing decision. So we want to enter into this area. We want to enter into this particular market. A number of my colleagues who came, who joined in, who spoke before I came in, spoke about particular deals that need to be entered into and all. For the firm that may be considering a prospective project to enter into a capital investment, on their side, they have corporate finance analysts. So these corporate finance analysts will be looking at their financials currently, the way they intend going into this project. Given current projects we have, is there a need to sequence the projects? When I say sequence, to maybe stall for a while, take some time before we enter into this project. Maybe the new project we are entering into is going to give synergy to our current projects we are having, or it's going to, I don't want to use too many, majority of us are finance guys, so we would understand, but for the sake of someone who is not a finance guy, who still wants a career path in this area, when we synergizing is the new projects we are entering into, it tends to amplify or make your current projects better or increase the prospects of even current projects you are in. And then finally, corporate finance analyst or the corporate finance space looks at capital financing. So we've looked at the current operational status of the company. A company may want to enter a project and needs a decision to be taken, but also in entering a particular project, how do we intend financing it? So corporate finance side looks at funding capital investment as a capital raise, and looking at this at an optimal capital structure. With where I am currently, my role as currently I'm a strategy analyst for a holding company. So this company enters a lot of projects, and for particular projects, we need to raise money for it. And you can't do every project by using equity, which is your internal funds. Emmanuel in the private equity space even spoke about, welcoming other investors who also bring equity, but it's private equity. But there's also the side where you're looking at equity as against debt. And in raising capital, especially debt, you'll be talking to big multilateral firms in order to get financing. So in this space, the corporate finance analyst will be looking at, the company's current financials, how we project, how we forecast. You'll be a lead for interfacing with most of these debt firms that wish to give money, even the PE firms, when they wish to come on board and a particular company. On the company side, they are usually corporate finance analysts who will be really within the engagements, who also understand the numbers and will be speaking to the numbers. So broadly, this is where corporate finance covers. Key roles in corporate finance: you can have a corporate financial analyst, which is a common one we hear. You can have a strategic finance associate. You can have an FP&A analyst. There's a treasury analyst, and some of these roles intertwine, but broadly, it covers the corporate finance space. You can have a finance manager. You can have a strategy manager, a corporate treasurer, or chief financial officer. And I have not particularly arranged them in the order of in rank with which you rise in the industry, because it's sort of it doesn't cut across sometimes it's company specific. I think at a point, Emmanuel even mentioned that some companies start at an analyst, then go to an associate, and then an officer. But in other companies, an officer may even be lower than an associate. Some of them are company specific, but generally these are key roles you find in the corporate finance space. Now, this is a very important place because some of us are already on that track or are looking to maximize our speed in that track. So what are the key skills and qualifications you need? Maybe back then in some years, when I'm on a session like this, and sometimes I hear people talk about the skills we need, I feel like, okay, I'm very inadequate. The skills they are talking about, God, when will I gain all of these skills to even qualify for these? We should know that this is a career startup program. So we are speaking to people who most likely have not started some of the professional courses, who are at level 1, level 2, or who are thinking of even starting. And this is to let you know that you're on the right path. This is to let you know that if you failed a paper or two, you are still, you are better than someone who, I'm not saying better in the sense of, for the word better, but you are ahead in the sense of someone who hasn't started at all. If you've got some exemptions, it's encouragement for you to move on. So key skills you need in the corporate finance space. You need Microsoft Excel for starters. And I've sort of given sort of like a weighting. It's not too scientific, but based on my experience in the area and also speaking to other people in the sector, you need a lot of Excel because you need to understand financial statements and perform analysis. Your company needs to interpret what they are doing and then also use what they are doing to project. And most importantly, what they intend to do, they want to use that to project what will happen in the future. So you need Excel a lot, and it cannot be underestimated. Excel. And you can start Excel while you are in school, you can start Excel while currently you're on this course. While you're in this session, you can do it on YouTube, but there are also places where we provide training, which First Man we do very well. And then also you perform financial forecasting, which I've mentioned. And beyond knowing how to do the basic addition and subtraction in Excel, key numbers in Excel, and knowing when to press enter or escape in order to come out of a formula interface, you need to have the ability to model. The ability, and modeling is to use your formulas and all of that to tell a story going forward. And it is not it's not just the science of it. When I say science, the quantitative, but there's also the art side of it, where you talk to people, you see how people understand this, you see how people model revenue. If they want to model a company's revenue, do they just use historic growth rates to forecast? It's not always that way. That's a simple way, but sometimes you have to see how their revenues build up. If they have numbers that add up to revenues, if they have price quotations for different product offerings, sometimes you want to look at where the country is at a particular point and model downwards. Okay, this was happening in the nation. COVID has broken out. If COVID has broken out, what was the impact on that sector in the country? Okay, we have statistics show that that sector in the country did this. All of that is an upgrade of Excel, but the baseline is you have to start with Excel. So Excel is necessary for a corporate finance analyst. And then also Microsoft PowerPoint, because everything you are doing, there is another side to analysis where you understand your numbers, but without being able to communicate your numbers, you've virtually not done anything. You've done your homework, but you've not gotten people to buy into your numbers. So there's a lot about your PowerPoint presentations. Your PowerPoint, how to prepare pitch books. And people say, oh, PowerPoint, yeah, we know how to use a PowerPoint, I'm good. But you need to see other people use a PowerPoint and realize that there is more to learn. You need to see people's presentations and you'll be surprised that it was the same PowerPoint you also use. So how to make even a PowerPoint not a bulky document, that it's actually so it's points you are speaking to. And these are soft skills that an analyst needs beyond just coming out of a business school. And then excellent oral and written communication, how to communicate. So you've prepared your numbers, you forecasted, there's a story behind, you've presented it nicely, but you're standing before people to present. How are the people understanding what you are saying? You know, do you keep talking and looking back at your presentation and say, yes, please, yes, please. And these are soft sides that school does not particularly teach. And you learn it by rubbing off other corporate guys. Even me here, I learned from other guys in First Man, because a number of them, even I know outside the group, I know in the industry. So you learn from them. So these are key skills you need when it comes to the work of a corporate finance. Now the qualifications. And I mentioned that this is not to intimidate anyone, but to let you know where you are currently, what you need to get there. And you know, in a starter role, they may not be looking at you having all of these. Companies are looking at building value in their professionals and then also having it as a way for the professionals to show loyalty to the company. So you can join with a bachelor's degree, but they are looking at you scaling up, getting an MBA if possible, starting an ICA, ACCA, a CFA, or an FMVA, and these things build you up. So qualifications for a starter program as a corporate analyst, for a starter role, you need to, basic requirement, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree. For some of them, they'll even say a preferred requirement is an MBA, because people have an MBA, so they will be more competitive when it comes to looking at their CVs. But when you enter the interview, people have a bachelor's degree, but they come across as more instrumental than someone who has an MBA. So as much as we advance the qualifications, we also want to advance building grit as a finance professional, that work on yourself, work on your potential, your ability. And when you enter interviews, the CV gets you the interview, but your qualities get you the role. How you are able to deliver gets you the role. So there's an MBA, which would be a preferred requirement. And then the CFA for a corporate finance person. CFA is a very valuable qualification to have. The FMVA, ICA, ACCA, because baseline is you are dealing with people's financials, and you need to understand the financials. I myself, I'm still on the roll. I'm still in the race to get some of these qualifications like the CFA. But so I use it as a point to encourage anyone. If you are done, that's good. But if you are not yet done too and you're on your way, look, pick up steam and set some benchmarks. Once in a while you fail. If you don't fail, also keep moving. The mega trends in the industry when it comes to an analyst and for a corporate finance analyst, some of it will be repetitive from all those who have presented. But Excel is key, like I mentioned. It's a baseline, but now everyone is learning Excel. And if you are in the finance industry, it's a competitive space. And sometimes it even gets depressing sometimes. And people on this call, your mics are muted, but maybe you can identify that. You know, you learn something before you know it, something new has come up again. And Excel has been there for a while, but there are other softwares that are coming, giving very good graphic user interfaces, making infographics very, very, very top notch. And Power BI is a case in point. And Power BI also, Firstman School of Analytics offer Power BI as a course also that we do. So Power BI, sub-business objectives, Tableau Public, R programming. I think Lydia spoke about it as a research analyst. And the role of an analyst, they sort of intersect like a Venn diagram. There's always that middle portion where for an analyst who can use a data analysis tool like R, you can use MATLAB, you can use Stata, you can use eViews, you can use Power BI. It makes you a bit, it adds a little more that you understand more in Excel, you're able to interface. So these are new skills in the industry that are required. So as much as you push the professional qualifications, also try and push the soft skills that you work on. So high level corporate finance, there's the strategy side and then the financial raise and also optimizing the company's financial structure. I am done, and if there are questions, I'll take or I hand over to the next presenter. Thank you, Festus.
Thank you, George. We are grateful for the presentation. That's wonderful. So now we are done with the series of presentations on how we can start our careers in these areas. So we have looked at how we can start our career in audit and assurance, investment banking, corporate finance, private equity, and then research analyst. So from all these presentations, if you are looking at the mega trends, these are some of the key skills that are happening. You talk about Excel, Power BI, and then programming skills like Python or R. So these are the key skills that you can look at if you want to start your career in these areas. Now we are going to have our last presentation, and the last presentation will be on the future of finance. So now you see that the industries that we have around, they are all evolving or changing rapidly because of technology and other things. So some of us, we are yet to come into the job market. Others, we are already in the job market. So now we have to look at the future, how the future looks like. So we have a representative from Chartered Institute of Management Accountants who is going to take us through how the future of finance looks like. So we are happy to have Paul Amankwa here, who is going to take us through the future of finance. So I'm going to give a brief background about his qualification. So he's a chartered management accountant and a certified tax expert. He also has MBA and diploma in insurance. He has over 15 years senior management experience in finance, marketing, strategic planning, and execution. And he has been involved in a lot of startup operations in different industries. So as I mentioned, he's going to take us through the future of finance. So Paul, if you're around, kindly take over the presentation.
Thank you very much, Festus, and good morning to everybody on the call. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to talk about the future of finance. And this is some work that CIMA did a few years ago, just about 2-3 years ago. And then we interviewed over 2,000 senior finance professionals around the world. And we went to 150 countries, including Ghana. We interviewed top levels finance professionals just to gauge what they thought about the future, how it was going to be for the world of finance. So I'll quickly go through what some of our findings were at the time and how it has impacted the way we have developed our qualification for the future. And I realized that lots of the people, speakers ahead of me, spoke about similar things. So when I get there, I'll quickly go through them. I will not waste too much time on them. Okay, so my thing is not moving now. Why? My screen is not moving. Okay. Okay, so we are going to look at 3 objectives. We will identify the drivers of change, transforming organizations today and into the future. So what are the things that are forcing organizations to rethink the way they do their things? Then we'll talk about how technology is impacting on these organizations and also opportunities for digital transformation within the business processes. So we'll look at change. We'll look at the people skills that you require to be able to become a proper finance professional in the future. We'll look at the technology that you need to deploy. What are the processes? Then I'll quickly wrap up. So why do you need to change as an organization? These are the drivers of change in a digital world. So you realize that things like globalization, geopolitics, regulations are coming out every day. Demography is also forcing organizations to change. You realize that we have different groups of people working together now. I know George very well. I mean, I met him at the University of Ghana when I started this my SEMA job. I mean, look at the age gap. But we have these young ones coming into the workspace and showing that they are capable of working. These guys are used to digital skills. They deploy a lot of technology. They are confident with technology. Some of the older school people are not so confident, but you have to get all these people working in the same space. How do you manage these people as an organization? Consumers have become so powerful. All they need to do is to go online and say, your services are rubbish, and you might lose a lot of value and a lot of customers. So these are things that are driving everybody. And technology is emerging, and it's emerging very fast and easily accessible to everybody. So everybody on his phone has access to some kind of technology. These are major things affecting us, and as finance professionals, we must take them into consideration as we move forward with our careers. So what we do, when we did the research, we found out the evolving shape of finance. Traditionally, finance professionals or accountants will assemble data and gain what we call information. So they submit their financial reports and they think they've done their work. It's no longer that way. You need to use the information, do some analysis with that information to generate some insights. Okay, so you need to get better understanding of the information. Once you get better understanding of the information, you use that information to advise decision makers. So if you are going to talk to the CEO, the CFO, the board, you use that information to advise them with the intention of influencing their decisions. Because if you provide the information and it does not influence their decisions moving forward, you are not really making an impact. And as finance professionals, anytime you are submitting a report to a decision maker, ask yourself, will he be influenced by what I have put across? If not, rethink what you are submitting. Once you're able to influence their decision, then you can get them to act and execute. And that is the point where we are able to make impact as finance professionals. So finance has moved away from just reporting to what we call questioning. So you don't just take the data, but you question the data, you develop solutions, and you deploy solutions. That's the only way as a finance professional you can add value to your organization. What are some of the challenges facing organizations now? Some organizations are still using legacy systems, disparate proprietary information, and all of those things. So they don't have one coherent kind of system. So they have information sitting here, information sitting there. As a finance professional, it makes your life very uncomfortable. And it is for those of us in the world of finance now to find ways to make life easy for everybody. So we think that organizations must evolve. What do? You need to decide where you want to be. So if you are the finance director or you are an organization, you want to decide where you want to be in 2025, for example. Identify the methodology you want to use to get there. So all the speakers have spoken about all the technological tools that you need to be able to get there. And then define your roadmap to get in there. Now, when you come to, so I'll talk about 3 main things: the people, the technology, and the processes. So for us, people is very crucial because we realize that a lot of companies that want to change start with technology and they fail. Instead of starting with the people, you need to change the mindset of the people before you introduce the technology. If you do it the other way around, you might not be successful. And a lot of companies have suffered from that. So for those of us at CIMA, when we did the research, 5 key skills came up strongly. The first one is what we call the technical skills. That is where we do the normal accounting, tax, audit, and all of those things. Those are basic for finance professionals. But what also came up strongly was business skills. You need to understand the business in which you are operating, understand your supply chain, your customers, and everything. Beyond that, you also need to have people skills. And some of the speakers ahead of me spoke about negotiation skills, communication skills, and all of these things. All of these things are very important. You also require leadership skills as a finance professional. You should be in a position to motivate your teams to be able to achieve all your results. But in the middle, you will find that we have digital skills. So you have all of these skills, but to be able to deploy them properly, you need the digital skills, which is very, very important. So we have this hard skills, which are the technical skills, but you also need the business, the people, and the leadership skills. And for those of us at CIMA, what we train our people to do is to come up with all of these skills by the time they are done with our qualification. So you become a well-rounded professional, not just an accountant. Now, this is some research that came up from the work that we did, and you realize the World Economic Forum, they were talking about the top 10 skills in 2020. You realize that they talk about complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, emotional intelligence, negotiations, and cognitive flexibility. All of these things are soft skills that you need as a finance professional. So it is no longer enough to be a good accountant doing all the numbers, but you need some of these soft skills to become a well-rounded finance professional. And that's what CIMA does for its people. Let's come to the technology. So what are some of the skills that you need? These are things that are in our space now. So things like advanced analytics, and lots of you have spoken about it, cognitive computing, in-memory computing, blockchain, cloud, visualization, and process robotics. Whether you like it or not, if you want to stay in the world of finance, you need to have good appreciation of some of these technologies that are coming into our space. Otherwise, you become very redundant. So let's look at cloud computing. I think cloud has been with us for quite a while. So we don't need to talk too much about it because we all know what and the benefits of cloud computing. My thing is not moving again. What is happening? Okay, so there are a lot of benefits, and I'll share my slides with Firstman so they can share with you. Cybersecurity has also become a very key thing in our current space. And some of you will not know, but there's a cybercrime economy. The bad actors make money from us. So whatever they get hold of, they will pay money for it, and they will hit you hard as an organization. Right from email addresses, which go for like as low as 50 cents to about $20, to banking credentials or corporate email accounts. And they all have a value. The values might look small here, but when they hit your organization, the reputational damage alone is huge, and you might suffer for it. So as a finance professional, you must understand the cybercrime economy and understand cybersecurity to be able to ensure that your company is not hit. I'm sure you all know about Internet of Things, where lots of devices are connected to each other. So you connect your mobile phone to other devices, your television, your fridge, everything. So these are technologies that as finance professionals of the future, you must be aware of. Data analytics came up strongly, and I know it is one of the things that Firstman does very well. I've followed them for quite a while. But you realize that when it comes to data, big data, we have the volume. Just try to do some research and Google something, and you see the amount of data that is thrown at you within seconds. How are you going to navigate your way around some of these things? And they come in different forms, so the variety. Some are structured, some are unstructured, some are in videos, some are in text. How do you manage all of that? and the velocity, the speed at which it is coming at you. As a finance professional, what do you do to be able to also use all the information and submit your reports on time? Then there's also data uncertainty. And if you want to understand data uncertainty, just listen to what or watch social media and all the information that we are getting around COVID. Everybody is putting out information and nobody knows which one is correct or which one is incorrect. But that is the nature of big data that is available now. Now, as I quickly round up, let's look at evolution of analytics. And as a finance professional, you must take notice of this. You know, in the past, we had what we call descriptive analytics. So we have the dashboards, the scoreboard, the reports. What is it doing? He said, what happened? That is past things. So you're not bothered about that. Then we have the diagnostic analytics. Hello? We have the diagnostic analytics, which is looking at why did that thing happen. But now we are moving into predictive analytics. That is what will happen in the future. So you are looking into the future. Then now we want to take control over the future. So we say prescriptive analytics. How can we make it happen? For finance professionals, we must move away from our comfort zone, which is what happened and why did it happen. We need to move into the space of predictive analysis and prescriptive analysis. And that is where finance is going. And those of us on the call, if you want to be successful in finance, please have a look at some of these things. Then we also know about robotic process automation. We also know about artificial intelligence. These are all things that have come into the finance space, and we must take notes of some of these things. Blockchain has also become very strong in the finance space. And I think one of the speakers spoke about blockchain. I think the first or the second speaker spoke about blockchain, even though it's not mainstream now. But these are things that have come into our space. And as finance professionals, I would encourage all of you to have a look at those things. And I'll give you a link where you can go to the CIMA website and get some data or information about all the things that I have spoken about. 5G is with us, and you need to know about it as a finance professional. The last one I'm going to talk about is the processes. Now, some research that was done by McKinsey shows that with the current technology, if you look at some of the processes in the finance space, things like data collection, current technology can do about 64% of what we do with data collection. Data processing, 69% of current technology can do it. But as we move to the right, things like managing others, technology hasn't gotten there yet. But with time, technology keeps improving, and they are entering into the space where we're comfortable working in. What do we do to ensure that the technology doesn't take over our jobs? We need to have a look at that. So we are saying that when you're applying technology, think about continuous improvement. So identify your key processes, understand your current challenges and impact on the organization, prioritize based on the impacts, identify the ideal automation. Don't just pick anything that is on the table, pick what is good for your operations, and implement using proven methods. So as I come to the end of my presentation, what are the things we have covered here? We made a case for change. Why do we have to change? Talked about organizational transformation, the people and skill transformation that you need, the technologies, and the processes. Now, what are some of the enabling digital transformation that is around us? Some of them are already mainstream, like cloud computing, cybersecurity, some of data analytics, but new things that you need to look at and adapt: artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, and blockchain as we move into the future. Then Internet of Everything and prescriptive analytics. These are things that as a finance professional, whether you like it or not, you must have a look at them because you will need them moving into the future. There are several benefits of digital transformation, and some of them include security, automation, and all of those good things I'll share with you. As I end my presentation, what are the key takeaways? As a finance professional working in an organization, look for continuous transformation. Whatever you are doing must be customer-centric. So don't just do it because it's fanciful to do. Make sure it is satisfying a customer need. And organizations of all sizes must ensure that they have skilled their people and use the right technologies and upgrade their processes. Digital transformation leads to the following: your customers will be satisfied, your employees will be satisfied. Of course, as businesses, profitability will grow and will be excited, and you become successful in the marketplace. For those of you who want to read some more, you may want to go to the CIMA site, cgmastore.com/disruption. You will get more on how digitization is disrupting our businesses today and the way it will disrupt our businesses moving into the future. And I will encourage all of you to have a look at that. So my question to you is, are you ready for the future of finance? This is where I'll end my presentation. I have my email address here, my phone number, and you can visit the CIMA website. If you want some more information, feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. The future of finance. Are you guys ready for the future of finance? Thank you very much for the presentation. Now we have one question here that I want you to answer for us. It may be a minute. AC want to find out, like, if you take the finance and then accounting profession, it seems or is being perceived as male dominated. Now she wants to find out from you how or what ways of encouragement are you going to give to the female professionals who want to start their career in accounting and finance?
Is it a question to me?
Yes, I want you to have.
Okay,
sure. But I want you to handle that for us.
Okay, sure. Yes, the reality is that when you come into the finance and accounting space, you have a lot more males in that space. However, you also find out that there are women in that space, just that the numbers are not really balanced. That's the reality. But nothing stops a woman pursuing a career like CIMA or any of the professional accounting qualification. Nothing, because we have several of them in top positions, and they got there because they pursued a career in finance. So, and I think that now the women have shown to us that they are capable. There's research which even shows that when the women get to the top, they are better handlers of our financial situations than the men. And men, please don't get angry with me, but that is based on facts. Okay, it's the reality. So we encourage ladies to move into that space. Don't be shy. Don't just go into things like marketing and sales. Come into the finance space. CIMA has a lot of opportunities for female finance professionals, and you will not regret going into that space. And we trust the women do better than the men.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, so we are about wrapping up. So we are left with just one presentation from Firstman. So let me share my screen here. So now with all these presentations that we have heard so far, we have seen so far, it seems most of them are highlighting some key skills that you need to enter or you need to succeed in the finance and accounting industry. So at Firstman School, what are we doing to also help our graduates and the young professionals who want to start their career in that space? So we are going to have a section on financial modeling and then data analytics. So I want to show you, or I want to take you through how the specialization works. And then if you'll be interested in joining or starting your career in finance, we would encourage you to sign up for the course. So this is the financial modeling specialization. And we have designed this to help people who want to start their career in financial modeling or any accounting and finance role. Now with this course, we are going to equip you with the skills that will help you to become a full-stack financial analyst. So you are going to learn something like financial modeling, business valuation, data analytics, and then data storytelling. So as we saw in most of the presentation, you can see that the future is more towards data analytics. So now the field of accounting and finance is not all about accounting and then accounting and finance. Now data analytics is also coming into the space. Financial modeling is also coming. So we developed this course to help you to prepare for a role in accounting and finance. So here, when you enroll in this course, you are going to acquire a lot of skills that will help you to become a full-stack financial analyst. So you learn something on financial modeling, business valuation, data storytelling, and then data analytics. So now let's see the kind of skills that you are going to build regarding this program. So most of us, we have heard about this program that we are organizing. Some of us, this will be the first time. Now we have developed this course here. There are 4 main courses which are designed to help you as a graduate or finance professional who want to develop your skills in financial modeling or financial analysis and data analytics. Now, when you enroll in this course, these are the skills that you are going to build. You are going to be equipped with financial modeling skills, financial analysis, advanced Excel accounting, data visualization, and then dashboard designing. And this course is going to be instructor-led or online training, just like the section that we are having here. So you are going to have the instructors who are going to be with us throughout the entire training program. So you are going to learn from them, and the training is highly practical and it's 100% online. So if you want to start your career in finance and accounting, you have the opportunity to enroll with us and you'll be able to equip yourself with all these skills. Now, let me give you the courses that we have. So you are going to have a section on financial analysis and then applied Excel in finance. So this course will expose you to how you'll be able to analyze financial statements using different techniques like vertical analysis, horizontal analysis, or using the DuPont analysis. Then you're also going to learn something on how we apply Excel in finance. So as we saw in some of the presentation, as a financial analyst or as a finance and accounting guy, you spend most of your time using Excel. So you're going to see how we apply Excel in finance. So in my current role as a financial analyst, I spend like 99% of my time at the office working in Excel. So I'm going to take you through how you'll be able to build your skills in Excel through this course. Then you also have a course on financial modeling and forecasting, how you'll be able to forecast financial statements and use your insight to provide financial advice to your company. So here we learn how to build 3-statement financial model. So if you take the financial statement, we have 3 main components or 3 main elements. We have the income statement, the balance sheet, and then the cash flows. Though we have other aspects, but these are the major ones. So this course will help you to learn how you'll be able to model these 3 financial statements together. Now, the kind of skills that you are going to build will include financial modeling, advanced Excel, and then how you can use charts and graphs to present your findings and your key insights. Then you also have another section on how you use Power BI for finance. So throughout all the presentations, when you are looking at the mega trends in future, you could see that most of the presentations highlighted Power BI. So here we are going to learn hands-on experience on how we apply Power BI in finance to analyze and visualize data. And here you are going to learn something on data analytics, dashboard designing, data visualization, and then automation. So within Power BI, there's another tool called Power Query, which you can use to automate your business processes. So this course is also going to give you a hands-on experience on how you can use Power BI to analyze and then visualize data and then automate your business processes. Then we also have a final section on business valuation, how you can value a company. So maybe another company wants to acquire a different company. What value are they going to place on the company? So here you are going to provide you with all the techniques that business analysts and financial analysts use to value a company. So here you learn something on business valuation, advanced Excel, and then finance. So now throughout this training, who are you going to work with? These are the instructors for this training. Some of them presented in this section that we are having. So we have George, who is coming in. We also have Emmanuel, we have Alex, and then myself. And then we also have Gordon, who is also going to be part of the instructors. So these are the people that we are going to work with. They are properly certified. They have the work experience, which they are going to share with you. They also have the proper qualifications. So some of us, we are ACCA qualified. Others are also SEMA qualified. Some of us also have financial modeling and valuation certification. Others have also completed the Ghana Stock Exchange qualification. So I'm going to share all this experience with you when you enroll in this course. Now, when you enroll in the financial modeling specification or specialization, what are the benefits that you are going to get? First, you are going to earn a verifiable certificate, which you can add to your CV or your LinkedIn profile. Then we also have another section on career prep, where we are going to take you through how you'll be able to write your CV, how you are going to brand yourself online on LinkedIn. And then we are also going to provide you with some career advice, which is also going to help you to take your career to the next level. And then we're also going to be inviting industry experts who will be coming in to provide you with career advice. Then you also gain some practical work experience, because whatever you are going to teach you here is highly practical. And it's something that we do at the workplace, which we are going to share with you. Then apart from that, we also have our cutting edge online learning platform where you can learn the things that we are going to have in this section. So at the end of each section, the section is going to be a live section. So at the end of each section, the courses will be made available on our online platform at firstman.io. And then you can log in and then learn at any time. So all the recordings that we are going to have will be made available on the website where you can go and then learn. And the last thing is, with this section, we are going to record everything and we are going to make it available on our website at firstman.io. So if you want to get a copy of this section, it will be available on our website at firstman.io. So these are the key things that you are going to get from this training when you enroll. Now, if you want to enroll, this is the step that you can take to also start your career in finance and then accounting. So this is Firstman. So you can go to our website at www.firstman.io, and that's our contact. It's 0541239290. And then you can also send us an email at support@firstman.io, or you can send an email to myself at ctfestus@firstman.io. So if you want to enroll in this course, or if you want to enroll in any course in data science, data analytics, financial modeling, Python programming, and digital marketing, you can get in touch with us. You can visit our website, or you can send us a message or an email at ctfestus@firstman.io, or you can send us via our support@firstman.io, or you can send me a WhatsApp message on 0541239290. So the videos, the recording for this section will be made available at firstman.io. So at the end of this section, you can check our website and you'll be able to get a copy of this section here. So I'm going to check the chat. If anyone has any question, then we look at it and then we can wrap up the section. Collins is asking, okay, let me come in. What advice would you have for those who didn't pursue accounting or finance at tertiary, but have developed interest in this area, for instance, teachers and other professionals? Okay, so let me come to our chat. George, are you around?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Here.
Okay, kindly help us with this question. Collins want to find out those who didn't pursue accounting or finance at the tertiary level, but have developed interest in accounting and finance. What advice are you going to give to those people who want to start from that area?
Yes, so that's a very important, a very good question. So in our delivery, when I say I mean those who presented before me. One of the presenters even made a reference to a colleague whose background was entirely not accounting and finance, but the person had a professional qualification that eventually the person was able to use it to break through in the industry. You guys, so it does not necessarily mean that though the undergrad in one of these courses appears to be a basic requirement, not everyone in the industry did an undergrad in finance, in accounting, in any of the business courses. Some enter through taking the professional course. There are people who start the ICA, and particularly they don't have a business background. They were a Bachelor of Arts students in different areas, but they are able to pick. Once your quantity reference to a teacher, for teachers also, it's easier to learn the more you teach, because before you teach, you have to learn yourself. So in the cycle of always learning. So it would be easy to pick with the professional courses. Maybe if your quantities are not too strong, maybe it may be gradual, but you will still be able to pick. So you don't necessarily have to have the business background, but you have to be very aggressive when it comes to the professional courses in order to get that side of the foundation. On another side, I'll say there are soft ways to also build up. So one, I think Alex, or was it in Ghana Stock Exchange Security Industry course? I don't particularly remember business background in the Ghanaian landscape. I'm telling you this. So you can sign up to courses like that, take certificate courses on Coursera, on LinkedIn Learning, and these give basic accounting and finance tuition. And the principles of the basic building blocks of accounting and finance, they are not changing. We are building up on what an asset is, how an asset is treated. Those are basic principles you can learn from some of those places. Then you zoom in with an ICA a CFA fundamentals course that are for people who are not business inclined, but they want to take. And then you warm up through the certificate courses and eventually build up steam. But it's not impossible. Once you sign out and say that, okay, because I don't have the starting block, I'm not qualified, you don't get to start in the first place. Yeah, I hope it's been helpful, my response.
Yeah, sure, George. Okay.
First man, can I add a little, please?
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, I read your comments here, but you can still have this.
Because of what I do, over the past 11 years, I've been working for CIMA, and we've recruited thousands of students. I can tell you that a lot of our students who have become chartered management accountants did not have any background in finance. So we recruit from all departments, including the sciences. So don't let your degree qualification stop you from pursuing a career that you are interested in. I studied sociology and political science at the University of Ghana. My first attempt at accounting was after university. I didn't even do accounting in the secondary school, but nothing stopped me. And I said, go to my LinkedIn profile and you realize that I've gone into different areas from my sociology background. So my encouragement to you is that don't be bothered about your background. When you come and join a professional qualification, they will take you from the fundamentals. And once you get the fundamentals right, nothing will stop you from progressing to the very top. So please move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. There's also another question here from Daniel. It says that if you are a student and you still want to do a professional qualification like ACCA, how would you balance your school degree work with a professional course so that you'll be able to succeed in both areas? So since it's relating to professional qualification, Paul, if you can help us with that.
Okay. Because of what I do again, we always encourage students to combine their professional qualification with their degrees while they are in school. You see, because whilst you are in school, your mind is already in study mode, and everything you want to do, if you are committed, will go well. And I'll still use myself as an example. When I was doing my MBA, at the same time I was doing my professional course, and I was fully employed. And I wasn't a particularly bright student, but I was able to combine all of these things, you understand? So the simple answer is that yes, it is possible, but you need to be committed. Create some space for yourself and make sure that once you are committed, you'll be able to do it and get some discipline around it. But a lot of our students even qualify or they get their qualification before they even complete their degree. And there's a lot of evidence out there. So don't wait till you complete. Start now.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Okay. Can I add something to it?
Sure, Alex.
Yeah, so I think what Paul just said, it's important. Myself, I finished my professional qualification whilst I was in school. And for some organizations, they compensate you for having a professional qualification. And I mean, the gap can go as wide as probably maybe 15,000, 20,000 per year. So if you are able to actually finish your professional qualification whilst you're in school, I think it's better. And as you're in school, I mean, you're able to combine that with your academics as well. But when you get into the professional environment, I mean, the stress goes to a different level, and then combine it with quite difficult. Yeah.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. Okay. So now, if there are no other questions, then we can wrap up the section here. So we want to thank the presenters for the time that they have spent with us. We have learned a lot from these presentations that we have had so far. We also want to thank each and everyone who made the time to be with us. We have enjoyed the time that we have spent together here. So we are still available if you want to learn these digital skills like data science, data analytics, financial modeling, or Python for programming, and then digital marketing. You can visit our website at www.firstman.io, or you can call us or WhatsApp us on 054-123-9290. So as I mentioned, we are going to make the copy of this section available on our website at www.firstman.io. So if you want to receive a copy of this, you can visit our website maybe an hour after we close the section. it will be available on our website, which you can watch and then you can also download. So I want to thank each and everyone for the time that we have spent here. We are very grateful. We also have another section coming up tomorrow on career starter program for those who want to start their career in data analytics. So if you also want to join that section, I'm going to share the link in the chat box. You can also check it out and then join us tomorrow at 2:30. We're also going to have this section where we are going to have introductory sections on how you can start your career in data analytics. So I have shared the link in the chat box. You can click on it to register. And then tomorrow at 2:30, you can also join us for the data analytics section. So thank you very much, and then have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you too.
Thank you.